Hi, I'm Councilwoman Veronica Lurvey from the town of North Hempstead. Welcome to my kitchen once again. Today I am going to be making Sufganiyot. Now you might not know what Sufganiyot are, but for very many Jews, they are an integral part of Hanukkah. Now we all know about latkes, and a couple of years ago I did a video about latkes and I hope that you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed making it. So what are Sufganiyot? Sufganiyot are jelly donuts. And because they're fried in oil, that is why they become, for many families, especially Israeli families, a really important part of Hanukkah. According to the Hanukkah story, in 139 BC, the Maccabees returned to Jerusalem to find that the temple had been sacked, basically ruined, and their golden menorah didn't have enough oil in it to light. It had actually 1 day's worth of oil. So what did they do? They lit that 1 day's worth of oil and it lasted for 8 entire days. And that is the miracle of Hanukkah. And that's why we're going to be making these delicious Sufganiyot. So the first step to making the Sufganiyot is to combine the dry ingredients. And I'm using a really old stand mixer from my mom's. This is something that's been in the family for a really long time and it makes a really funny noise, but it works. So we're combining the flour, the whole wheat flour, and 1 packet of dry yeast. And we're going to mix it until it's nicely mixed. So when you use eggs, I just recently learned, keep them at room temperature. So I took these out a few hours ago. We're going to mix the eggs. One teaspoon of vanilla. 1 teaspoon of salt. So the next step is to combine some lukewarm water, honey, and oil. So I'm going to come over here. It's important that the water be pretty warm because that's what's going to activate the yeast. Here's my lukewarm water, my honey. I always like to use local honey. 2 teaspoons of oil. 1 and 2. That gets all whisked together. And added to the dough. There we go. That's beautiful. Now it looks like everything is thoroughly combined, and we will add the eggs, the vanilla, and the salt. And let that mix for about 2 minutes. So once the dough is thoroughly mixed, we're going to slowly, gradually add some flour. You can watch the dough become less sticky, become less moist as the flour is incorporated. Looking good. Now that the dough is mixed and you can really smell the yeast, you know that that's going to be good. You take some flour. This is the fun part. This is the messy part. If you've got kids, maybe they want to take part in this. And this dough gets kneaded for 5 whole minutes. So roll up your sleeves and get at it. Add as much flour as you need so it doesn't stick to your hands or to the table. After 5 minutes, this dough looks like it's been thoroughly kneaded. I'm going to form it into a ball. I'm going to form it into sort of a ball. And I have a bowl prepared here that's been buttered. And drop it in there. Cover it with a dishcloth and put it somewhere relatively warm to rise for about an hour. So my phone just went off because 60 minutes went by. So I'm going to check and see, and yes, the dough has risen. It's about 2.5, 3 times the size that it was before. So now we're going to flour our work area again. We're going to take this wonderful dough. Oh, look at that. And we're going to use our rolling pin and roll it out to, they say, 1/4 inch thick. Here we go. Let's see. I've got the coolest tool. Some measures. I don't know if you can see the measurements, but I can actually measure and see. That is exactly 1/4 inch thick. I'm going to take my cookie cutter and cut as many circles as possible. Each one of these is going to be one delicious Sufganiyot. I can't wait. Pretty good, pretty good. One more. We are going to turn to the hot oil. But while it heats up, we're going to cover these so that they don't dry out. So we're going to very, very, very carefully drop them in, and immediately they start to sizzle. Look at that. That means the oil's ready. And they'll immediately float. You see that? They're immediately coming back up. Not too many. I always am tempted to put too many in there. Look at that. Isn't that amazing how they start to puff up? I'm flipping them over after about a minute on each side. Some families like them darker, some families like them lighter. You'll figure out what it is that you like. Oh, look at this one. He doesn't want to flip. You can take them out when they're as dark as your family likes them. So you might be tempted to use the rest of the dough and to roll it out again, but it didn't work for me. Maybe somebody out there can tell me what I should do with the rest of this dough. Should I just toss it in there? And as we finish with this last batch, we can start thinking about what we're going to fill them up with. Raspberry preserves are typically what you think of when you think of Sufganiyot, but lately I've been seeing some delicious other flavors. Dulce de leche is a really good flavor. Custard is a really good flavor. Some sort of chocolate custard. Other types of fruit fillings. The possibilities are really endless. All right, so all of our Sufganiyot are now out of the oil. They're cooling. We'll just have to wait a few minutes until they've cooled enough so that we can pipe them full of sweet goodness. So I'm going to choose today to use raspberry preserves, which is something that everybody likes, and it's really easy. I've taken my piping bag, filled it up with a few tablespoons of the raspberry preserves, and I'm ready to go. Let's take one of our, the big one, Sufganiyot, cutting away from you. Make a little hole. You know what? I'm going to show you how airy they are on the inside. They're basically empty. They're just waiting to be filled up. Take the piping bag, put them in there, and squeeze in the raspberry preserves. You know no one's going to complain about too much. Final step involves a little bit of powdered sugar. Just a little bit on top. Let me try one. Look at that filling. So good. While it's amazing to make these at home with your family, we don't always have time or the opportunity. Luckily for us in the town of North Hempstead, there are so many bakeries that bake the most amazing Sufganiyot. I know here in Great Neck, for example, there are several. Some of them bake the Sufganiyot that are really large, and some of them bake the small ones like I've made today. But I would like all of you, whoever's watching this, please send me your suggestions or put them in the comments in the Facebook page. Tell us all, share your favorite place to get Sufganiyot. So here we are. I'm inviting you to join me in celebrating Hanukkah. Here we have the Sufganiyot that we made today. We have some chocolate gelt and our beautiful little dreidels. And of course, our menorah, also known as the Chanukah. For those of you who don't know, Hanukkah lasts for 8 nights. So we light the 8 candles down here. And there's a 9th candle, the middle candle, which is called the shamash. The shamash is used to light all the other candles. In that way, the shamash is the candle that brings light on every single night. And I hope that this year, at a time when there's rising anti-Semitism and division in this country, that we all act like the shamash and bring light into our communities and into everybody's lives. Happy Hanukkah, everybody.